More international news for you now. Activists in Syria say Islamic militants have seized a strategic helicopter base in the north in what's perceived as a setback for government forces. It comes as US and Middle East experts say Syria's internal conflict is putting the country's uranium stockpiles at risk. That's according to a report in the British Financial Times newspaper, which says Damascus has up to 50 tons of unenriched uranium. Well, Syria was thought to be close to completing a reactor in the east of the country with help from North Korea, and the facility was reportedly destroyed by Israeli jets 5 years ago. There are now concerns that Iran, Syria's closest ally in the region, might be trying to seize the stockpile for its own nuclear ambitions. This comes amid fears that Syria's chemical weapons could fall into the hands of Islamic extremists. Well, meanwhile, Britain says it's not excluding giving military assistance to the rebels should the conflict worsen. Well, political analyst Omar Nashabi says Western media only gives a partial picture of what's going on.
There's a lot of noise about it. There was a bombing in 2007. The Israeli jets bombed a site in Syria, claiming that it is a nuclear site. There was no indication. Yes, the IAEA visited the site. The IAEA said that there were traces of uranium, of depleted uranium, but they did not confirm that there was any quantity, or at least, this huge quantity that is being publicized. I mean, they're saying 50 tons of uranium. This is. I don't know where they come up with the number. Well, obviously, I did some research, and it appears that they came up with the number because they are coming up with the story that this site that was there, that was bombed in 2007, would actually require 50 tons. That doesn't mean that the Syrians actually have 50 tons, and that doesn't mean that the site is actually for a nuclear program. The Syrian central government was able to control more than the past 6 months. There's an advance of the Syrian army and the Syrian official police, and they're controlling most of the country. There are only some areas in the countryside where rebel fighters are in, some areas in the countryside where the Syrian army withdrew from these areas because they thought that these areas were not important strategically. But overall, the Syrian central government under the leadership of President Assad controls most of the Syrian territory. Obviously, it's difficult because there are many fighters infiltrating from outside Syria. There are a lot of money being infiltrated, being pumped into Syria to these rebel groups by neighboring countries, especially by Turkey, by Qatar, by other European, and by the United States. There is a sponsorship of these terror groups.